Right now, as you watch this video, one of the most important shipping lanes on Earth is effectively closed. Not as a threat, not as a warning. It is closed, and the world economy is already feeling it. At its narrowest, the Strait of Hormuz squeezes global trade through a corridor just 33 kilometers wide. Two shipping lanes, each barely 2 kilometers across, carve out the only safe passage for oil tankers and liquefied natural gas carriers moving between the Persian Gulf and the open sea. There is no room for error. Massive vessels, some stretching over 300 meters, must stay within these tight boundaries to avoid running aground or drifting into restricted waters. The seabed here is shallow, averaging just 40 meters deep, which limits maneuverability even further. On either side, the Iranian and Omani coasts press in, leaving ships exposed and predictable. Every vessel entering Hormuz is forced into a single-file line, locked onto a path like beads on a wire. In this bottleneck, a handful of mines or a single blockade can halt the flow of nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply in a matter of hours. The geometry is not just a detail, it is the reason this sliver of water can hold the world hostage. Every day, up to 21 million barrels of oil, about 20% of the world's supply, move through the Strait of Hormuz. Alongside that, nearly a fifth of all liquefied natural gas destined for power plants and homes from Tokyo to Berlin squeezes through this same narrow channel. There is no backup, no pipeline, no alternative sea route, no global network ready to absorb the loss if Hormuz goes dark. When the strait closes, the world feels it instantly. Tankers are forced to idle or reroute thousands of kilometers around Africa, adding weeks to delivery times and millions in extra costs. The Saudi East-West pipeline, often cited as a fallback, can only carry about 5 million barrels a day, barely a quarter of what Hormuz normally handles. That leaves a gap no one can fill. The numbers are blunt. A single choke point, 33 kilometers wide, now decides the fate of energy markets, fuel supplies, and the economic stability of entire continents. This is the world's energy lifeline under threat. On February 28, 2026, the world woke up to headlines that changed the energy map overnight. United States and Israeli warplanes launched coordinated strikes on Iranian command sites near Bushehr and Tehran. Hours later, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was dead, confirmed by a formal obituary from the IRNA news agency and images of the funeral cortege broadcast across state television. Within minutes, the Revolutionary Guard declared the Strait of Hormuz closed to all civilian shipping. Fast attack boats and missile units took up positions along the Iranian coast. The IRGC's televised statement called the closure a matter of national survival. CENTCOM's press release labeled the operation Strait Lock, while Iranian officials called it an act of war. Dr. Vali Nasser, a longtime analyst of Iranian politics, put it bluntly: the death of a supreme leader forces the regime to prove its strength or risk losing the country. By nightfall, the world's busiest energy artery was sealed. No tankers moved. No LNG carriers passed. Insurance underwriters in London yanked coverage, and the United Nations Security Council scrambled into emergency session. The assassination did not just topple a leader, it shattered the status quo and forced Iran's hand on the global stage. Iran's response is immediate and calculated. For the first time since the 1980s, naval mines are seeded across the central shipping lanes of Hormuz. Satellite radar and AIS logs confirm the pattern. Hundreds of influence mines, some moored, some drifting. Force tankers into narrow, predictable channels. the threat isn't just theoretical. Between March 2nd and March 7th, the IRGC launches 21 documented attacks on merchant vessels. Missile strikes, drone hits, and fast boat raids leave hulls breached and crews scrambling. Most victims sail under the flags of Panama, Liberia, or the Marshall Islands, flags of convenience, but real ships, real cargo. On March 2nd, Tehran files a $1.1 million toll claim with the International Maritime Organization, demanding payment from any ship seeking safe passage. The message is clear: pay up or risk attack. Then, on March 26th, Iran announces a selective reopening. Only vessels from China, Russia, India, Iraq, and Pakistan are allowed through, each paying a reduced fee. For everyone else, the strait remains closed. This two-tier system splits global shipping, leaving Western-aligned carriers stranded or rerouted thousands of kilometers. What began as a regional standoff now ripples outward, turning a 33-kilometer waterway into a global economic fault line. Oil markets react in real time. The moment the Strait of Hormuz closes, daily tanker traffic drops by over 90%. Brent crude surges past $108 a barrel, its highest level in years. WTI is not far behind. Rationing kicks in almost overnight. Mumbai caps gasoline sales at 70% of normal, and Singapore slashes public fuel allocations to 60%. The Saudi East-West pipeline, meant as a backup, can only move 5 million barrels a day, barely a quarter of what Hormuz usually carries. Every rerouted tanker adds up to $2 million in extra costs, and nearly 2 weeks of delay. Lloyd's List confirms that war risk insurance is suspended. For shipping giants and street corner gas stations alike, the numbers are not abstract. They are pain at the pump, empty tanks, and a new world of risk. April 21st. The strait is locked down. U.S. Navy warships hold the line as the blockade grinds on. Islamabad talks have stalled. Britain issues its highest maritime alert. Pakistan's envoy warns of global fallout. Ian Bremmer calls it a standoff with no off-ramp. Trump at a press conference said, "We will not be blackmailed." No ships move. No one blinks. Right now, nearly 20% of global oil is trapped behind a 33-kilometer bottleneck. Every stalled tanker means higher prices, tougher choices. The world economy holds its breath. What breaks first?